You're listening to the Exploring Fitness Podcast, episode number 1. Today's episode discusses the purpose and goals of this podcast so that together we can better understand fitness and make little improvements in our own health and wellness habits. In 3, 2, 1, go. I'm Dan Dalator. In over 10 years of experience as a clinician and a coach, I've worked with hundreds of athletes to help them improve their health, wellness, and fitness, but still feel that there is so much more for all of us to learn. This is a podcast dedicated to furthering our understanding of health, wellness, fitness, and how to apply these concepts into our daily lives to create true and lasting changes in your fitness and health. This is the Exploring Fitness Podcast. Good day, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the inaugural episode of the Exploring Fitness Podcast. For those who don't know me, my name is Dan Dalator. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and founder of Infinite Capacity Physical Therapy, where, as performance physical therapists, we specialize in helping active people both prevent injuries and help them minimize symptoms so that they can maximize their fitness. But what does that mean? What does it mean to maximize your fitness? If we want to try to maximize something, we should probably start by defining the thing that we are trying to affect or change. In this case, fitness. If we look at the good old Merriam-Webster dictionary for a definition, we get the quality or state of being fit. Well, I thought we were taught in grade school that you aren't supposed to use the word you're trying to define in the definition. So moving on, if we look at Wikipedia, it provides a slightly better definition of fitness, which is a state of health and well-being, and more specifically, the ability to perform aspects of sports, occupations, and daily activities. Okay, but if we're trying to affect, improve, and maximize something, we need to be able to measure it. In order for us to be able to know for certain that change is happening, that state of health and well-being should be measurable, observable, and repeatable. So we need a better definition of fitness, which is able to serve this purpose. As a physical therapist, I use the process of measure, observe, and repeat on a daily basis. We are constantly measuring people's pain levels, ranges of motion, strength, balance, ability to perform functional movements, etc. Then, observing as we perform interventions to hopefully positively affect those things, and repeat the measurements for proof of change throughout a patient's plan of care. So, when I was first introduced to the same concept, applying this to fitness, it made total sense and I was instantly on board. Pretty early in my career, I was introduced to the world of functional fitness through a series of postgraduate continuing education courses. These courses got me doing functional movements that I had never before been exposed to, like the overhead squat with a barbell, and performing workouts like I had never done before with high intensity interval training and metabolic conditioning workouts. The movements, concepts, and methodology behind these courses was largely based on the sport of CrossFit. So, as a result, I've been participating in CrossFit since around 2018. I opened a physical therapy office inside of a CrossFit gym in 2020. I took the level 1 CrossFit trainers course in 2021, began coaching CrossFit classes in 2021, and took the Level 2 CrossFit Trainers course in 2022. Now, I am a firm believer that CrossFit can be for anyone, but it isn't for everyone. Meaning, the movements and workouts are infinitely scalable, so anyone is capable of doing them. I've seen people in their 80s doing CrossFit workouts alongside people in their 20s, but it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So, regardless of your personal feelings or views of CrossFit, please stick with me here. While I'm going to use CrossFit as the vessel by which the following information will be presented, I strongly believe that the information is extremely valuable to everyone, no matter your preferred fitness regimen. One thing that CrossFit does extremely well is defining things. CrossFit even went to the extent to define itself, which is CrossFit equals constantly varied functional movements at high intensity. Then they go on to further define each of the individual components in that definition in detail. They define constantly varied, functional movements, and high intensity. CrossFit also has a definition of fitness. Fitness equals work capacity across broad time and modal domains. Work capacity they use synonymously with the measure of power. Broad time refers to performing workouts of varying lengths. Everything from a very quick lift, like a 1-rep max of an Olympic lift, like the snatch or the clean and jerk, to a longer workout, like a 10K run or maybe even a marathon. And broad modal domains means a wide variety of movement types. They display how this can even be graphed by putting work capacity or power on the y-axis and time on the x-axis, with plot points throughout the graph representing power output across time through the completion of different modes of exercise, with the resultant area under that curve that you get from those plots representing an individual's fitness. CrossFit also describes 4 supporting models for their methodology. Model number 1 is the 10 general physical skills. This is the balance of physiological adaptation, things like cardiorespiratory endurance, strength, stamina, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, agility, accuracy, and balance. The second model is the Hopper model. This is the balance of skills and drills. The third model is metabolic pathways, which is the balance of bioenergetics. The fourth model is the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum, which is the balance of lifestyle. Each of these, in and of themselves, could and very well might end up as their own episodes on this podcast. And finally, there is the epic of CrossFit founder Greg Glassman, who put fitness into 100 words. Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. Keep intake to levels that will support exercise, but not body fat. Practice and train major lifts, deadlifts, cleans, squats, presses, clean and jerks, and snatch. Similarly, master the basics of gymnastics. Pull-ups, dips, rope climbs, push-ups, sit-ups, presses to handstand, pirouettes, flips, splits, and holds. Bike, run, row, swim, etc., hard and fast. 5 or 6 days a week. Mix these elements in as many combinations and patterns as creativity will allow. Routine is the enemy. Keep workouts short and intense. Regularly learn and play new sports. Across each of these sources I just discussed, CrossFit does an excellent job of defining fitness. It has been able to provide guidance on how to measure, observe, and repeat. It provides an overarching view of what fitness is and how to achieve it. Because ultimately, fitness is relatable to every single person on this planet. As stated in the CrossFit Level 1 Handbook, the needs of an Olympic athlete and our grandparents differ by degree, not kind. One is looking for functional dominance, the other for functional competence. Competence and dominance manifest through identical physiological mechanisms. These definitions will serve as the framework for this podcast, with the purpose of diving even deeper into these definitions, methodologies, models, and mechanisms. I invite you along on this journey with us as we continue exploring fitness. The goal will be to dive into as many aspects of fitness as possible by talking with experts in their respective fields. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I hope you join us again.